Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Jeff, and usually I talk about Lego and we talk about all the fun stuff, and sometimes I'll even build for you online. My 3 videos so far have been nothing but that, but so this is going to be a little weird, and that's okay. It's all right to be weird. There's nothing wrong with being weird. So basically, this is such a touchy subject because it's something that, we don't address, or we do address. We're addressing now, as days go by, as just everything is happening, and especially after this year. Holy smokes! This year, if you're still breathing and you've got all this going on, then we're gonna talk about it. So I'm going to talk about it, and we'll go from there. Sound good? Probably not. I don't blame you if you don't watch, but this is a heavy subject. So depression affects a lot of people in a lot of different ways. I'm going to give out some random definitions of what it is. This is from NMH, .nih.gov, health publications, men and depression. We're talking about men with depression. I'm sorry for not focusing on ladies, but this is it. Okay, so just some facts for us, okay? Depression is one of the most common mental disorders in the U.S. Current research suggests that depression is caused by a combination of risk factors, including genetic factors. Men with a family history of depression may be more likely to develop it than those whose family members do not have the illness. Environmental stress. This is the biggest one right now for a lot of us. And financial problems. When you lose somebody, a relationship that you're in that's not the best for you. Changes in your life, moving, getting a new job. Due to the job part, starting a new job. All of these things can trigger it in men, in teenagers, and teenage boys, and young men, and everything else. A couple of other factors are diabetes, cancer, heart disease, Parkinson's. Depression can make all of these things worse because you can't, anymore. You can't go forward. You can't move forward. And it's really hard to understand what that means when you don't suffer from it, or you don't have it, or you don't whatever from it, okay? We're going to change some terminology here. You don't suffer from depression. You live with your depression, okay? Because if you're suffering from depression, you're not going to win, okay? You're just not. It's hell. I'm going to be honest. There's nothing worse than waking up and thinking to yourself that you're the lowest human being on the planet because your condition is telling you that, your life is telling you that, and it's not easy. It's not ever going to be one of those times where you wake up and you go, I'm magically cured. And a lot of people that don't have depression or anxiety or any of these things that affect us in different ways don't understand or are too scared to address that with you. Because if you tell your friend, hey, I'm thinking some bad thoughts lately, I'm thinking some horrible thoughts lately, that puts your friend back, right? Like, whoa, man, like everything's fine. We were just watching a movie and we were drinking Slurpees, But like, depression is a mask. We don't let people in. We don't let our close ones and our loved ones in. We don't even talk about it because of just that stigma that because you have depression, because you live with your depression every day, there's something majorly wrong. Partially, that is correct. Okay? There is something majorly wrong. And sometimes you don't know how to deal with it. And that can manifest as being manic, as being angry, as just living on the edge or being on the edge with everybody you talk to, everybody you meet. You think that everybody's going to be out to get you. You think that everyone is not for you. You think that everyone is just there to make fun of you or to ridicule you or make your life hell. That's not the case. But we think it is, and we react that way towards people. New people, old people, family, friends, whatever. It happens. It comes out in the weirdest moments, and it comes out because we can't walk that balancing point at that time anymore. We lose friends, we lose loved ones, we lose ourselves in the process. We forget who we are simply because we are letting that negativity, we are letting that depression, we are letting all of that win. And that's a hard thing to deal with. And there's not a lot you can do besides getting treatment, coming up with a plan on how to beat it. Not beat it so that it's gone, but beat it so that it's not something that is consuming you anymore. Okay? So let's go over that, okay? Let's go over some first steps, all right? So when I'm starting to feel low, I felt low this whole last week. I could barely drag myself out of bed a couple of times, but I did anyway because I have a reason to. That's the first thing. You need a strong reason. You need a strong reason to drag yourself out of bed. Once you do that, you've already beaten it back just a little bit, okay? And that's major. That's huge. This stuff has hurt more people and has caused more pain and more damage simply because of how it's affecting the person than a lot of things in this world. So find the reason to get up. Girlfriend, dog, cat, mother, father, building with Lego, talking to your friends, going to your job, driving in your car, going to 7-Eleven and getting a Slurpee, whatever, okay? Whatever it is, find the reason, okay? So you got your reason. The next step is you have to carry through with that reason. If you tell yourself, I am going to do this today, I'm going to wash my car, that's your reason for getting up, okay? I'm going to wash my car. Then we deal with the next step. The next step is realizing that you have to commit to an idea and not just say it in your head. And that's part of getting up in the morning. It is. So I'm going to wash my car. But if I don't do it right, it's going to look like crap. What if the hose is broken? And we start creating reasons why we can't do it, okay? And that's a problem. All right, that's us losing. That's us losing before we even start because we think of reasons why we can't instead of why we can. So let's start this off, all right? I don't know how to wash a car, but I said that I was going to wash a car. No problem. YouTube. YouTube has a million videos on how-tos and everything else. How do I wash my car? Fantastic. But that also leads into, well, I don't have any of the materials they used. You don't need to use the materials to an exact T to wash the car. Okay, you can go to any store, any grocery store, any hardware store, whatever, Walmart, Kmart, are those still a thing? And you can pick up $2 car wash. Okay? No problem. You get your $2 car wash, you get your sponges, you go wash your car. And if the hose is cracked, it's not the end of the world, okay? Cracked hose, whatever. Water's going to spray anywhere. Doesn't really matter. Just wash the car, okay? And it doesn't have to be a pristine job. People with depression, people like myself, we build up how things will look in our mind, right? We want it to be 100% all the time. And you gotta come down to reality because people with depression and anxiety and all of these things, they want to build this better world. But if that better world isn't the way that you said it should be, or that it should be designed, or that it should be this, or it should be that, or it should be anything, you're done already because you're crushed because you're not living up to the expectations that you gave yourself. Half the time, those expectations are unreachable. Okay? It's that simple. It's unreachable. We do this as another diversive tactic so that we can fail, because depression is a state of mind, it's a state of being. We are in depression, we are depressed. Anything outside of being depressed or being in that bubble shatters our world and shatters our reality, okay? We're so used to being here that we can't be here, okay? So let's talk about that. Let's talk about getting from here to here. It's scary. We're used to failure. It's probably going to fail because we tell ourselves that it's going to fail. We're already losing. We've already lost because we've told ourselves that we're going to fail. We're going to lose it. And that's wrong. That's incredibly wrong on so many different levels. If you try and you fall, it's just like Batman's dad said. Why do we fall? To pick ourselves back up. Okay? That's the nature of the journey, with or without depression, okay? It's just that simple. You fall down, you pick yourself up, you move forward. That's how you have to do it. If you don't do it, then you're going to stay on the ground and you're never going to get up again, and you're never going to be able to achieve something, to have a goal, to have a dream, to have something that you can work forward to. I'm there. On a personal level, I'm there. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing anymore. Right now it's 11:20 at night, and I'm rambling about mental health to people or depression to people, and I think there's one person watching, and that doesn't really matter to me because I need to get this off my chest and I need to talk about it. And if it helps somebody in the future, great. If it sits in the archives of the internet for the rest of the universe and until it collapses, that don't bother me. I used to be somebody that wanted recognition for what he did because he believed that would bring him out of his depression, that recognition would change his world, and that he would be better off for it. People would see him in a light. But that's bullshit. If you're going to make yourself better, if you're going to move forward, you need your reason and you need yourself. It's hard getting right with yourself and accepting hard truths. It's hard getting right with yourself and making that plan and doing all of this stuff, not because you want to, not because your girlfriend tells you to, not because your wife tells you to, not because your grandma tells you to, not because your mom tells you to, not because your dad tells you to, not because I tell you to. But you need to. You need to know that you need to do something to pull you out of a funk, to pull you out of this state of being. Because every time you get angry, every time that you yell, every time that you slam your fist into a wall, every time that you slam a door because you're angry about a situation is a time that you lose. And that's not the way to live with depression in a productive and good way. Let's go over this. Let's go over some signs of depression. So this is the major diagnosis that I'm looking at right now. Major depression, depressive symptoms that interfere with a man's ability to work, sleep, study, eat, and enjoy most aspects of life. An episode of major depression may occur only once in a person's lifetime, but it is common for a person to have several episodes. Special forms, subtypes of major depression include psychotic depression, severe depression associated with delusions, false fixed beliefs, or hallucinations, hearing or seeing things that are not really there. These psychotic symptoms are depression themed. For example, a man may believe he is sick or poor when he is not, or he may hear voices that are not real that say he is worthless. You hear that? Voices that might tell you that you're this, even if it's your own voice. Keep this in mind, because the only person that's telling you that you'll fail when you're trying to do something on your own is yourself. The only person that's telling you that you're garbage, that you're nothing, that you're poo-poo is yourself. Keep that in mind. It's a crappy realization. It's a horrible realization. And then you're going to be mad at yourself because, oh man, I'm the whole reason that this is happening. No, it's partially true. Your life has led you to moments that have brought you to this state. Whether it was a disease, whether it was a bad childhood, or whatever, you can only blame people for so long before you point your finger at yourself, and you honestly have to stop and tell yourself, it's my fault. It's my fault that this is the way it is. Because I let it rule me, and I let it take over, and I let it be the definition of who I am. You can't do that. And every day it's a fight not to do that. Seasonal affective disorder, characterized by depression symptoms that appear every year during the winter months when there is less natural sunlight. That's pretty self-explanatory. Winter bums people out. Persistent depressive disorder, also called dysthymia, I'm really bad at reading, depressive symptoms that last as long as the time 2 years or longer, but are less severe than those of major depression. Minor depression, similar to major depression and persistent depressive disorder, but symptoms are less severe and may not last as long. Bipolar disorder. It is different from depression. It is included in this list because a person with bipolar disorder experiences episodes of extreme low moods, depression, but a person with bipolar disorder also experiences high moods called mania. And not to get on a personal note or personal level again, but I've been there. There's been times when I've been so low that I don't know what the hell the point is anymore of anything. And then there's been moments where I'm in high gear and I'm ready to tackle the world, and I do. A lot of people don't see that. A lot of people just see you being bummed out. But those moments of mania often happen when you're by yourself and you're looking around your apartment and there's cockroaches and there's dishes piling up, and it hits you that no wonder nothing good happens here. I live like a pig. Right? Like, that sucks. But it's in those moments of hysteria and mania that you can do something about it. What we're going to try to do is we're going to try to get to those moments without going insane, okay? So that's part of it, which is great. The next part is... So we've covered the negative. We've got the bad stuff out of the way, at least what I'm going to cover tonight. There's going to be more of this. A way to help is a support system. Number at the bottom of my screen is a helpline that will help you get reference materials, get support structures in place, find yourself a shrink, do all those things to help you on a better path of recovery, on a better path of dealing with your situation, on a better path of living with the way that you are. A support structure can be your mom, your dad, girlfriend, best friend, priest, shrink, guy you play racquetball with, any of those people that you're comfortable with talking to about. And as long as they provide a good, positive way of dealing and coping, not coping, but helping you deal and helping you cope with what you're feeling and how you're feeling and why you're feeling and what you're doing and how you're doing and all of the things, that's good. The person that tells you just ignore it, just brush it off your shoulder, doesn't know, doesn't understand, it isn't going to help to you. A person that stares at you after you tell them what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and they say, "That's messed up, man. Sorry," isn't going to help you. Living with depression is a hell of a lot easier when you have somebody or some people to talk to you about this. I'm not saying dump it all over them and being like, hey, these are my problems. But what I'm saying is be direct, be soft, and speak honestly. Don't lie. Don't lie to them. Don't lie to yourself. That's another big one. Don't lie to yourself. The moment that you lie to yourself is the moment that you've lost again. You have to be truthful with yourself. You have to accept your faults. But you can also look at all the good things that you are. With the faults comes the good. With the good comes the faults. It's just light and dark. And, sunrise and sunset, right? And polar opposites. A lot of people would rather just focus on their faults and forget what makes them a good person. Even if your past is muddied, you can find a way to move forward and feel like a person. And that's all that really matters in the scheme of things, is you getting right with yourself and you getting right with the world. Just remember this tonight, or if anybody ever does watch this. Reason, support. We'll talk about coping methods some other time. This is the Lego channel. My coping method is building things out of plastic blocks. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Everybody have a good day, good night, stay safe, wear a mask. There's a worldwide pandemic going on. Don't be an idiot.